My name is Pastor Carlton Jones. Thank you for being here today. It's been a very difficult time in the life of the Clara White Mission. The Clara White Mission was founded by Dr. Earther, Mary Magdalene White. There have only been 4 executive directors since she passed in 1974. She was a faithful member of the Bethel Baptist Institutional Church here in Jacksonville. I met Jacoby Pittman 28 years ago. I met Jacoby because I was asked by the DuPont Fund to serve on her board of directors, her first board of directors under Clara White Mission. As a young minister at Bethel, I came up under Bishop Rudolph W. McKissick Sr., and when I was asked to serve, I really enjoyed it. I researched the history of this mission. It went through the Spanish flu, and it is going through COVID. I know it was criticized by some of the executive committee that put things in writing to the media, but they handled all the protocols, correct protocols, based on the CDC. Also with the help of UF Shands. They also did a study that they were pleasantly surprised that the homeless were less infected, and the numbers were actually pretty reasonable compared to, I guess, the rest of our population. The other thing that was criticized was that this second round of COVID, that as though it was the mission's fault. The mission did everything possible to make sure that all the protocols were in place, but unfortunately, the executive committee, which did almost everything remotely from their either offices in St. Johns County and homes in St. Johns County, they did it from afar. They did have one staff person that they felt was capable of communicating to them. And so there was no relationship really established with this executive committee. There are some members that had been on that committee that did have a relationship, but it wasn't with the day-to-day staff. If you've ever been to any of the events of the Clara White Mission, there are so many activities going 24/7. The Clara White Mission over the years has tried to meet the needs of the community, whether it's working out at the farm on Moncrief, where they're building a new market for the food and produce that they produce, but they also will be training people in the community how to prepare their food, how to can, and it's a working farm. It's been working for the last few years. They have a farm manager, very capable, very qualified. We also have another gentleman that actually works under a grant that is dealing with the soil and all of the ways to do recycling, and it's almost everything that the Clara White Mission has done over the years has been cutting edge. I think one of their most notable accomplishments has been able to take someone who is homeless and give them hope and train them. They've had a very good track record with the culinary arts. They've had janitorial training and also some of the construction jobs. And that's really what it's about. Right now, with what the economy is doing, what COVID is doing, many people, some may even be in this room, are only one paycheck away from being homeless. And homeless has so many negative meanings to some populations. But the Bible says the homeless, the poor, will be always with us. And so we have to figure out how do we serve their needs, because we can change people's situations. It takes patience. And the Bible talks about patience. And so as far as the mission work, as far as the accountability of this organization, they have audits. They handle money that requires audits. They mention stuff in their letters that they don't get reports. Well, every board meeting I've attended, we've got financial statements, and I mean, they're drilled down. What they're doing out on the farm, we get reports, construction reports. Unfortunately, I think that was something else, and that's why I really don't want to call names or individuals. I believe you've been given a press package that shows the letters and the emails in chronological order from both the staff and also the executive committee. And it almost reads like a book. And with their own words, you can see that they intended to damage the Clara White Mission. They also went as far as to imply and threaten the CEO, Jacoby Pittman, if she did not approve this candidate that they were trying to force her to hire. They gave her until 12 o'clock noon. Now, she had interviewed the client, and she may have even approved the client. It wasn't about the applicant. I say client, but the applicant. It was about the manner in which they put it in writing. They also talked to her. I was invited by the chair and Jacoby to sit on a Zoom call to deal with talking about the COO, which is the Chief Operating Officer. And that position, I have served on many boards. I've served on hospital boards, bank boards. I've served on university boards. There's a certain way that you handle yourself as a director of a not-for-profit in particular. You have to have transparency because you're governed under the 501c3. It's an IRS tax code. And people can get in trouble if they don't follow those rules. I can tell you from what I have seen as a board member, I served 28 years, and I came back to work and to advise on the new building that's being built on Moncrief. But every board meeting, there has been accountability. And what was so disheartening is I don't know what the end game was. I don't know what was so important about this particular person. And I had not seen his resume until yesterday, since I knew it was going to be a press conference. I'm not going to give his name. I'm not going to give anybody's name. I'm not going to name the companies they work for because they put it all in the emails, which also is something that is against their company's policies and procedures. Now, if you read those emails, you will see they spend a lot of time disrupting the staff here, talking about policies and procedures, as though Jacoby was running something that was not organized, that was dysfunctional. Well, like I said, they just survived COVID-19, and this pandemic has got the state and the country at siege. So I didn't understand that initially when I saw that. But the majority of the board was oblivious to any of this. I mean, this has all come to a peak in about 3 weeks. And you can look at the emails. And it tells the story. They have had another motive. I have never, ever been on a board where they would talk about people's sorority and down personal stuff. Normally when you resign from a board, you say, I enjoyed serving, especially if you're representing a company. They're there not for themselves. They do not control that company's money. They are trusted to give money to the community. Now, if they use that money for leverage, for political, for whatever their end game. I don't think this was political. I hope it wasn't political. But I think it was a matter of someone feeling like they could control and take over a 118-year organization. But it was wrong. And one of the things I say, you can do things in darkness. But when the light is on, and the light is now on. And so as reporters and journalists, I know you reacted. Believe me, it was hard to keep Jacoby quiet because she wanted to respond. But you read those emails. They speak for themselves. And they are going to be judged based on that. So I don't want to make it personal. It's unfortunate because some of the folks I've known indirectly, and it's just a sad day for the mission because it's the staff, the clients that went through a difficult time fighting COVID, living with serving a community. They shut the mission down, and rightfully so to have it treated. But we're dealing with a population that does not necessarily know where their next meal is. And so if you're battling or fighting COVID, my daughter just survived COVID. So it's a horrible disease. So where's the humanity? And I just don't understand why it was done. I've got 5 pages here, but these are my personal notes. But if you read those emails, their emails, then that's where you should ask the question. It's unfortunate that the mission had to be under attack at a time like this. But the community does stand behind, and I can now turn it over to Angela. Okay, Jacoby.
Thank you. How's everybody? You know, may the works I've done speak for me. May the works I've done speaks for me. You know, before I get started, I would like to thank the community, my church, my Greek organizations, friends, colleagues, my friends at City Council, and the media for your prayers, for your flowers, for your texts during my recovery. You know, a special thanks will go out to Chief Powers with JFRD and his team, Baptist North, Baptist Downtown, and Brooks Rehab for saving my life. Did y'all hear what I said? For saving my life. And giving me my quality of life back today. I really would like my staff to come up and join me. Of course, this is my mom. And to my bishop, Rudolph McKissick, Jr. and Sr., for standing by me spiritually, and Pastor John and Amarosa for standing by me. I know this community loves me. I've proven myself, my brother who's here today as well, and given honor for God to stand before you, because I would tell you, a month ago, I didn't even know my name. I was fighting for my life, y'all, and did not know what my staff was going through. Unfortunately, COVID took one of my children. I call Chef Keith Smith my child, because when we only had a staff of 5, which was me, Meg, Veronica, Keith, and Miss Perry. We only had a budget of $200,000. but to continue the legacy of what Ms. White started. And I didn't get a chance to go to Key's funeral, so guess what? We're still grieving. We're grieving. Our volunteers are grieving. And I'm still grieving. And as you heard from our member, come on, baby, come on up. My children are here. There are false allegations against the Clara White Mission are not true. They're false. And it's slanderous to me, the board of directors. It's hurtful, and it's damaging to our financial support. Did y'all hear what I said? To our financial support that we have worked so hard for, that we have a proven record in this organization. And of course, during the outbreak of COVID, I know what my staff can do. They've been with me for from 10 to 27 and 28 years. So the board members who interceded did not understand the process. And if you don't understand the process, I think you need to ask questions before you just try to take over and cripple the impact of feeding the homeless. Those of you that know me know if I was out of the hospital, that would not have happened. It is unacceptable for the homeless not to have, because they consider the Clara White Mission as their lifeline. We lost 2 weeks of funding, 2 weeks of funding for our homeless veterans in our drop-in center. You know, previously when we went through this about a year ago, UF Hospital was on the front line. Other nonprofits, United Way, they came to the rescue. And because of what have happened in the last week or so has been very damaging. And donors are considering withdrawing their support. How so? Because of what a shadow executive committee that was not in the bylaws, who left out the first vice president. Meeting in the dark. What's in the dark comes to light. So I'm here to just share with you today that Clara White Mission is strong. It's strong, y'all. And not only are we strong, we're working with the health department to make sure those in the community that wants the vaccine, they can come here and get it on Wednesdays from 8:30 to 12. No line, no wait. No line, no wait. COVID is serious.
Yes, it is.
I've been through it. I don't ever want to go through it again. I don't ever want my staff to go through it. My entire family had it. So I say to you all today, there's no smoke and mirrors at Clara White Mission. I've been very transparent. All I have is my name and the good work of Dr. M.M. White, who has made it an opportunity for me to carry on the legacy. And I hope whoever comes after me will transition it to the next level. Audits, those of you who are worried about, have the mission hiding anything, or is there a motive? Hear it from me, and I have my staff and my CFO consultant who's here. We've always had excellent audits. So, as I finish up, I want the community to know that the homeless is a priority for me. Low income is a priority for me, and it has always been, ever since I could remember when I was in high school. I've always been that one who stands up for those that don't have a voice.
That's right. Amen.
Did y'all hear what I said?
Amen.
I stand up. And it might be pushing, I might get pushback, but at the end of the day, I'm standing up. Because they don't know what questions to ask and how to ask it. You know, I think about Ms. White because this is a grassroots organization. It's a grassroots organization with a ministry and outreach. And for that, I am pleased to continue. I want to thank all of our financial supporters, and I hope this doesn't damage what you all have always had trust and loyalty. I appreciate it, and I will need your funding to continue on. I will need the volunteers to come down, and you can wear your mask. As I close, thank you, community. Thank you for your trust, for the Clara White Mission. Thank you, media, for always coming, whether it's this crisis or daily initiatives that's done in the community. Your coverage keeps the community involved. I've always been committed and dedicated as a CEO and the councilwoman, and nothing has changed. I want you to remember, do all the good you can in all the ways you can, for all the people you can, while you can. Thank you so much. I'd like to introduce our board attorney, Michelle Barnett, if you would come up, and if there's any questions, she'll be able to answer.
Good afternoon. Happy to take a few questions if anyone has any.
What was the initial protocol once you knew that Mr. Pittman was out? Who was supposed to take over, and what was the protocol for informing the other staff about COVID-19 cases within Clara White?
So this isn't the first time Ms. Pittman has been out for medical reasons. It's been over a decade since she was out last time, and some of those same employees are still here and in senior roles. And Ms. Pittman, as you can imagine, her day-to-day operations are out in the community. She's dealing with donors, dealing with the people, right, which is so important as her role as executive director. And so the senior leadership is actually tasked with a lot of the day-to-day operations. And so obviously she's got a talented team who was prepared to continue to operate.
So why was there a delay in response about, or not response, notification of COVID-19 cases to the other, that's what they're alleging?
Delay to who, I'm sorry?
The emails allege that there was a delay in reporting COVID-19 cases to other staff members. Was there a delay?
Sure. So there was a brief delay, right? As you can imagine, there was a lot going on at the time. You're dealing with people, as Ms. Pittman mentioned. This isn't an organization where a lot of people are working remote. They're all here. They're working. There's still people to feed, still people to help figure out what's next. And to the extent there was a delay, it was a delay caused by the uncertainty of COVID and the fact that this is something that none of us have gone through in our lifetimes. And so as quickly as was possible, the information was relayed, but there was not a lot that the executive board could do from their homes, right? The executive board wasn't necessarily coming in to serve the clients. And so the primary goal was to serve the clients and, of course, making sure that the mission was in good sanitation and being cleaned, and like the schools did, right? When there's an outbreak, the number one thing to do is to come in and clean to make sure that it didn't happen again.
Can someone clarify the COO officer quote looked like to me comment that apparently was thrown from Ms. Pittman?
Sure. I wasn't in the meeting. From my understanding, I believe that Ms. Pittman was looking for somebody who had her similar charisma and community presence that she has.
And was there ever hidden information from executive board members within the Clara White Mission?
To the best of my knowledge, no, I have not conducted an investigation. I've been tasked with evaluating some of the legal aspects. To the best of my knowledge, based on my review of the emails I've been provided, that is not something that I have found.
Several of those board members, as you know, resigned, and a lot of those emails that come back and forth would allege that there's obviously problems going on. Does that suggest that the mission is in some sort of disarray or anything?
To the best of my knowledge, I'm not here every day managing all of the issues, and so, but I can tell you that the mission continues to serve its community and has had to make changes, as has every community support organization during the time of COVID, as CDC guidelines have changed, and so the mission has made those changes with the primary mission of continuing to support its population.
Are you aware of any current COVID-19 cases among your staff?
I don't have knowledge of that.
Does anyone else, any board members?
There are none.
There are
I'm
none.
told there are none, yes.
And you told me mentioned that the allegations were false and slanderous. Which ones specifically were false, or was none of that?
I have not conducted an evaluation as to which ones are false and slanderous. Based on my review of the materials, I believe there was some concern that Ms. Pittman may not be able to come back, but Ms. Pittman at no point in time expected not to be able to come back. She was in the good hands of our healthcare system here in Duval County, and thankfully has made a strong recovery, and she's here with us today.
And outside of the allegations, have anything else changed as far as protocol with COVID-19 at Clara White Mission?
I'm not sure I follow your question.
Did you make any changes after all of this happened as far as alerting staff members and cleaning more? What are you doing differently at Clara White as far as COVID-19?
Certainly, everyone is required to wear a mask. I think I'm the only one without a mask on in the room so that you all can better understand me. Socially distance whenever necessary. There are enhanced cleaning measures. Of course, there are new people coming into the mission, people who are hungry coming in, and so every day you've got to retrain the population that you serve on what those COVID protocols are. And I think that's important, right? If you work in an organization and you go to school every day, you learn what the system is, and so you show up and you do it every day. Here, there are new faces, new volunteers, and so every day is an opportunity to educate and to retrain everyone on what the COVID responsibilities are.
Would the alleged issues that have been brought up in these past couple of days be more helpful or hurtful that people do remain to see?
That's not a question that I'm, as the attorney for the Clara White Mission, able to respond. Certainly, Ms. Pittman has been here a very long time, and so that's not a question that I'm prepared to respond.
Has this,
Nor am I in a position to evaluate.
excuse me, I apologize.
Sure.
Has all what's been happening here at the mission, has this spilled over and impacted Ms. Pittman's role as a city council member? Do you think there's any damage been done to her effectiveness?
I'm not prepared to respond to that question. If you've got a question on protocols and policies, I can certainly respond to those.
I would like to respond to the question, is she capable? Yes, she's very capable, and she should be here. She's been here for 28 years, and she's been very effective. And she's the one that has used this mission and worked here and went from a budget of $200,000 to $3 million. So that question, the answer is yes.
Thank you. We appreciate you for coming today.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. I'm not used to it.